BORTLE here. We have a first place OTS box champion right here, Campos. Weird. What's up, Campos? How are you, man?
I'm alright, you know.
Let's go. What's actually used to win this box, bro?
One of my favorites, one of my decks that I'm known for, Dragonmaids. With Burst of Destiny giving us a bunch of great cards, there's a lot of new changes to the deck, so I want to show off how I'm playing it now versus how I was playing it.
Oh, nice. Any shoutouts before we begin?
Shout out to Team BORTLE, because God he is. Shout out to Alex Fuentes, because that guy is very creamy.
Let's show him. Hey.
Shout out to Darth, because he's right here.
Nice.
Yeah, shout out to Dragonmaid cards.
Dragonmaid cards, sweet. Well, show us the goo, man.
Yeah, alright, so going into the normal summons, we play pretty much all of them except for the water one, because that one's just not very good. One brick. The Monster Reborn one, in case you didn't know, and they all have the same effect where in the start of the battle phase they can tag out into a corresponding level of a Dragonmaid. This one's 7, the level 3s are 8s, the level 4 chamber is 7 or higher, which comes up with like special summoning the fusion monster from the graveyard in case it was brought out correctly and then it was gotten rid of. So then, yeah, going into the rest of the normal summons, we play Free Kitchen. This one's like the only one that doesn't start combos besides this one, but it's like necessary to play just for the attribute, and having it at 3 is like somewhat questionable. I think 2 is like a better way to play it going forward because of this one card that we're playing in the deck, but as of now, 3's fine. Just, you want to see your normal summon, because like you can't do anything without a name at least, so yeah. So then we got 3 Parlor, Fool's Burial of the deck, pretty standard, and 3 Chambers, of course, Starlight ones, because we gotta show love to our deck. I don't really like gold rares, otherwise I think I'd have the gold rares instead on that one, and like other random stuff in there, but yeah, enough about the rarities of my deck. So yeah, Chamber searches everything, spell and trap card wise for the deck. Now we're playing a lot less traps in our deck than before, so it's really predictable. Like if you're my opponent, if I have a set card, it's usually a tiny, it could be the continuous trap, which is downtime, but that's only when I'm like really ahead or like I hard drew it.
Okay.
So yeah, going into the big Dragonmaids, we play the same ratio as always, just 3 of them. This one's a quick effect, discard a card, special summon a Dragonmaid that's level 4 lower from your hand. This one, quick effect, discard to give a Dragonmaid monster 2000 attack boost. And this one, you can discard it, target a monster on the field, or on your opponent's field, I think. It's pretty irrelevant. Anyway, so that monster that you target can't activate its effects for the rest of the turn. So this card's like a really good, easy way to out Zeus like game 1, because you just discard this, target the Zeus, and it basically turns it off. Like it still has material or whatever, or like they can still chain it to the activation, but you just don't have to worry about it from then on. Or like this trades with like any negate pretty much, and then having it in the graveyard is just a way you can like add it back to your hand. And then these two are also like nuts. Like you really don't want to play more because they're bricks, but at the same time like you can really recur them a lot with all your small Dragonmaids, and it's all very very nice, very recursive. Like the longer the game goes, the more likely you are to win. Okay. So going into the hand traps, we played 2 Phantasme. It's really good with the small world in our deck because it has 18 defense. It's a dragon, so that lets us like add any Dragonmaid except for Chamber, because Chamber's a dark dragon and 18 defense. So that was never happening. But yeah. So going into the rest of it, 3 Bell, just because it lines up perfectly, or it lines up well with the small world. Spoilers. But yeah, being a level 3, you can search pretty much any Dragonmaid off of it. You can search Chamber off of it because of the 1800 defense, and you can search Nurse off of it because of the Earth attribute, because Nurse has 1600 defense. So yeah, a lot of synergy there. Same with the Ash, a little less because it's fire and 3, but it's still like a really good hand trap even without it. So yeah, that's all the hand traps. We're just playing 8 this time, no imperm or nothing, because I feel like the deck can do enough now because it's like mostly gas. So we're always ending on like some nice plays. And then this is our DPE package, 2 of these, 3 main deck Fusion Destinies, because I like hard drawing this card, but we also play Verte to maximize the output of it, because there's some cute synergy in the deck which we'll go over whenever I get to DPE. Alright. But like looking at the rest of the spells, we play 2 Foolish Goods, another like starter card. You only want to play 2 because 3 is too much, because this card doesn't actually like get you anything. It's literally just an extender, and you need the other card already for it to be an extender. So it's not as like a 1 card engine, it's more like a 1.5 card engine. I don't know, it's like
Sends your trap, right?
But yeah, it can send the trap. It can also send the fusion spell in niche scenarios. So I can use the fusion spell in the graveyard to bounce back something to just get the fusion spell back. But it also like adds advantage by adding those cards to my hand. So if it's like a big dragon, I get one of those effects that I can use in my hand. Or against Mystic Mind, it's a way to lower my monster count to out the Mystic Mind. Because this deck has an amazing matchup against any Mystic Mind deck. Because there's just so many cards that like go around it pretty much. Yeah, One of Called by the Grave, it's a good card because DP is pretty good right now, and like Gas is good for this deck, especially because we're playing a lot of like cards that like bait out hand traps. So sometimes all you really have is that one activation, so you really need it to go through. But now that the deck's built the way it is, you really just need 2 monsters on the field, which is a way easier ask than before when it was 2 dragons. So there's a lot of like Verte plays that you just really want to go off. Sometimes you can like hold this until your opponent's turn. It really depends on the hand more than anything. But yeah, and then one of the Dragonmaid fusion. Pretty standard. I would never play 2 because I'm not that afraid of DD Crow, and like if they get rid of your link monsters, you have more win conditions now in this build than you did before, so it's not that end of the world. Yeah, looking at the spiciest card in our deck now, Small World. Took me how long has it been since this set came out? Like about a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me like a month to get to know how to use this card properly. And it is very complex, but it works. So like the fact that it all just happens on resolution is really good, because it's like one of the easiest things to like, I wouldn't say easiest thing to bait out in Ash, but like if this thing gets Ashed, it's free. And then you just use the rest of your cards, and Fusion Destiny is like the freest thing ever. Because like so many Dragonmaid cards need to be Ash Blossom, but if you have the Fusion Destiny, it just doesn't matter. So.
You say you abuse the Ash Blossom and the Ghost Bells with this card, right?
Yeah, that's what I would get rid of, and like it really adds a whole lot of consistency to the deck by banishing like bricks pretty much, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. Like sometimes in like pinch scenarios, I can banish like a big Dragonmaid, even though we only play 3 copies, and that makes it harder to go into the like big fusion. It's still worth it, like just to get a chamber on the board, because chamber is game. And then last of the Dragonmaid cards, we play 3 Hospitality. This one's our non-targeting Reborn / special summon from hand. And then it sends a thing with the same attribute but a different level to the graveyard. It sucks that it has that second part of the text and it's worded the way it is, because this card can get Ash Blossom, which really sucks. Everything in this deck can just get Ash Blossom for like no reason. But like the fact that it doesn't target's cool, because DD Crow's like not that good against this deck.
Yeah.
3 Tidying. Everyone knows what that card does, and 1 downtime, and that's all our traps. 4 traps from before when we were playing like I think almost 20.
What's the main deck count?
40. We gotta keep it as consistent as possible. So yeah, going into the extra deck, 2 House and 3 Shell. So in case you didn't know, this thing's an Omni Negate. Whenever it Omni Negates, it has to go into this thing. So we're only playing 2 copies of this to like minimize the amount of like extra deck space that we're like devoting to the Dragonmaid cards. Not that they're bad or anything, but it's just not likely that 3 of this will come up and 3 of this. But 3 of this does come up, because there are times where you just fusion into this as a way to like fill up your board and like regain advantage. And you could really care less about the Omni Negate. It's just nice that it has it. And looking at like other cards in the extra deck, this card just puts in a lot more work than this card, obviously. I don't know. I just think 3's correct, because going into the 3rd one without the Omni Negate is just fine. 1 DPE, of course, we're playing DPE, and then yeah, that to go with it. And then into the links, play Striker Dragon. It's at 1. We can only play 1. I was thinking about Almirage, but it's not a dragon, so it's just not as good, even though it could come up more. But yeah, with all the extenders that we use, we need a monster either in our graveyard or a hand. But by using like our normal summon to go into this, we can pretty much go into that second monster for free, even though we wouldn't be triggering any effects, because more than likely they're already used on the field. But it still gives us like free access into cards like this. So like it's either go into this or this on the first turn, and either way it's like really good. Like this card just does enough. It's like this plus that is like amazing. There are boards that like set up like I think the craziest board I've set up so far with this deck in the time I've been playing it was like this Omni Negate Dragonmaid and DP on board. Ooh. And those hands are just amazing, because then because of this you have access into like all the good link monsters like Unicorn, Phoenix, and Appaloosa. So like with the Dragonmaids, all of them like come out and do stuff during your opponent's turn. So I love the fact that this deck can play during your opponent's turn. So like you don't even need the Heretic Seal effect to go off really most of the time if you have just an IP and the Omni Negate, the Fusion monster. Because the Fusion monster usually brings out like one from the deck, and then that one can send a trap card, and then that one can special summon another one, and then you can flash this out, bring this out, and so you have like a 3 material Appaloosa under this with DP and an Omni Negate still available. So pretty good stuff. And then the last card in extra deck, so access code. Because of all the leaf monsters, I thought this was correct, all the different attributes, but playing it, I think BORTLE Sword Dragon might be better. Just because of the attack, like, synergy that's with the deck and, like, all the switching battle positions and stuff. The fact that it's a dragon, like, barely matters, but I can go into that versus this. I can't go into that, so it's just marginal. But I'm trying to perfect the deck list, so it's all this, like, tiny stuff that matters to me. So go into the extra deck, play 3 evenly, 3 Lancia, 3 Nib, 3 D-Berry, and 3 MSTs. So a lot of these extra deck, or these main deck, side deck cards were like more geared towards like my striker list, because I was kind of like just interchanging the side deck cards. But in testing, it's just like these cards really help out a lot in like specific matchups. Like just this card's like really good. This format shuts down like Sword Soul deck, and this deck just has a hard matchup against Sword Soul because they can set up the negates with Yugioh, and like 2 failures is enough to stop this deck most of the time, or at least like hinder it to the point where it's not doing anything scary. So yeah, it's just having something to shut off your opponent's turn. Like these 2 cards are really good for that. This card's obviously like always good, and this card's really good. This one's like the only one that's like obviously like questionable. Yeah. Twin Twister's like slightly better, but against certain matchups, this card just does more than like other cards in your deck. So like against some decks, you can actually like slide out your like terrible cards against the matchup and like put this in. Like against Virtual World, I can slide out like Phantasme to put these in. And like even going first, it's like a disruption in case they like Kowloon into like their trap card and then try to use their Virtual World on it, and you just pop it. Or like there are some hands where it's like bad enough to where like this turns on your hand because you set your trap card, MST it, and then you just use it in the same turn. So you get an extra push or something.
Hey, well, it's great that you're abusing, DPE and Small World from Burst of Destiny, so it's pretty cool to see this deck, get an upgrade, right?
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, sweet. So, thanks for being on the channel again, Campos.
Yeah, man.
And BORTLENATION. Whoa, hold up. If you're not part of BORTLENATION, sub for BORTLE. It's that easy and it's free. Oh, God, yes. BORTLE out.